Thanks, Swati, for reminding. I forgot. But anyway, we have not covered anything. We have only solved the question. So because this is the start of recording, let me say welcome back. Okay. 3. Your team is completed all the sprint backlog item early. What is the most agile appropriate next step? Give the team remaining time off. Start working on the item from the next sprint. Call an emergency sprint review close early and collaborate with the product owner to consider pulling new priority work.
B.
D, I suppose.
D for Delhi?
Yes.
Yes. B. B for
D
Bombay.
for Delhi मुझे भी अच्छा लग रहा है. Even I am happy with that. But let us discard remaining as well. Remember, friends, this is not the luxury, by the way, Shishir, you are going to get on 2nd of August, correct?
Yeah.
2nd of August time नहीं मिलने वाला है ये सब करने के लिए. But while studying this, Shishir and everyone, we must do it. You know, if you come across the right answer immediately, it becomes very important for us to go ahead and check why are others wrong. What's wrong about it? Your learning is more important, Shishir. Are you getting? Your accuracy of getting the 1 mark. More than that, during the study, you should also understand why something is wrong. Are you getting my point?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so for that, A, give the remaining time off. Man, this is ridiculous. You can't do something. Start the work on the item from the next sprint. Now, B and D both close hai. But the most important in D, you are involving the product owner. Correct?
And in B, we have not actually planned it. So sprint planning is also necessary before picking up the new work.
So in D, you are doing that as well. Correct?
Yeah, we are prioritizing work.
So B में वैसा नहीं है. Call an
Also, it is
emergency
saying
sprint
like
review.
it is the same thing as per A. Start working on items from the next sprint. It is not immediately. It is from the next sprint. So that is ruled out, I believe.
अच्छा, start working item from the next
From the next sprint is
अच्छा, so okay, so we are doing nothing actually.
Right.
So working on. अच्छा
So
नहीं, but he
A
said
and B is almost
A and
same,
B
you
are
know?
the same.
Almost
Yeah.
same.
नहीं, but I think, I mean, what I read, I thought that B में he is saying in the current remaining time start working on to the next sprint का backlog.
Okay.
Oh,
That
yes.
is not the same.
Yes.
Which is not right ना, because product owner को involve नहीं किया. And next sprint वाला तुमको क्या मालूम शिशिर?
और sprint
वो
planning
तो
हुआ ही नहीं
product
होगा
owner
next
को
sprint का.
product backlog तेरे को थोड़े ही ना मालूम है शिशिर. Correct?
Right.
It is the product owner will have to be there. So D looks to be the brilliant option there. So far we have done क्या है वो कॉफी CCD किया है हमने अभी तक ना, CC and D. Option CCD लिया है हमने. Okay. Then we'll check the answer. Yeah, 4th one. The product owner insist on assignment to individual team member. Okay. Product owner ने direct बोला. Okay. What should the Scrum Master or Agile PM do? See, I was saying in Agile environment, PM could play most suitable role is Scrum Master. Okay. So look,
Yes.
allow the product owner to assign the task for better accountability. I don't think this is right. Coach the product owner on the importance of the team self-organization. I think this is good. B for Bombay looks to be good. Yeah. Ignore the issue as it doesn't affect the sprint backlog. I mean, this is not, you can't ignore something.
Yeah.
Request the team to follow the product owner's instruction. No, this is not right, you know. So I think CCDB is what we have. A notepad कर तो शिशिर.
Sir, I'm noting them down. It's
अच्छा
okay.
करा है ना तू को है?
हाँ ठीक है मैं
कुलदीप CCDB लिखा ना तूने?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Now 5th one. A stakeholder is concerned about lack of formal documentation. Okay. How should the agile project manager respond? Promise to produce the comprehensive documentation at the end of the project. Oh, that's not good. Explain agile value of working software over confidential. ये मस्त question है.
B.
C. Begin documenting sprint, all sprint meeting and output in detail. Add the dedicated documentation sprint after each release. Okay.
B.
B for Bombay?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है लेकिन बहुत सिलेक्ट करने में ना. Maria, what do you say?
Sorry, what's that?
I'm not seeing this to be the best thing to do, but amongst ABCD, B पक्का अच्छा है.
Correct.
है ना? Promise product owner at the end of project is ridiculous, and you can't. It makes no sense. So A is gone. C is gone because begin the documentation of all sprint meeting and in output in detail. I mean, he just because said तुमने चालू कर दिया, not really a brilliant thing. D, add a dedicated document sprint. No, there is nothing called a document sprint, which is not wrong. So looks like then the list is B. Now B may what
B
is my
looks like
observation? Let's try to discuss.
value.
Explain Agile's value of working. Yes, this is the value, it is correct. But is this that formal concerned about lack of formal documentation? How should you so Kuldeep to B लिख ले इसका answer.
लिख लिया सर.
But
So as per Agile
if we get a thing,
manifesto,
if
right?
we Shishir, if I get an opportunity to write a better answer, what should you should have written?
I mean, less documentation was our always the manifesto of Agile and Scrum, right? I mean,
Correct.
yeah. So lesser
D.
the documentation is.
But ये तो lack of formal documentation बोल रहा है यार. So you are actually.
So D.
So Shishir, you are actually
normal. I mean, see, normally formal documents में हमारे पास SOWs या kind of scope documentation is there, but while implementation, while doing sprint, we don't create any specific document.
So that's what
The
stakeholders says
solution
here.
could be
Pawan,
The
you
formal
said
documentation itself is SOP
And
or
that
something which
is
is
what
related
we
to.
need to teach
Yeah.
the
So
leadership and
D.
stakeholders that
Raj, what's
if
your
you
view?
follow Scrum, you don't need to go through the documentation. That will waste of time, and that's what Agile values says. I
But
mean,
this question
that
is
is an
about
anti-pattern. If you
principles.
ask for documentation, that is an anti-pattern of Agile, and that's what stakeholders are doing in
Yeah,
normal
even
practice.
given situation, I am almost sure B is the right answer. But I was thinking there was something better than B as an option,
Yeah,
which I am not able to
सर
think.
लेकिन डॉक्यूमेंटेशन भी तो चाहिए ना, वो कभी ना कभी तो
yes.
करना ही है.
हाँ,
They are
exactly.
saying
वही है ना कुलदीप.
comprehensive.
So B में
They
तुम
are
लोग
not
you are
actually
just not doing
eliminating.
anything, and you are justifying that using a principle that doesn't look to be rather a value, correct?
So
I
D.
think
maybe.
this is probably in terms of preference, but then there could be a plan B on getting the document
कुछ
fixed.
तो भी चाहिए था. Some
How about
option.
C, sir?
Begin documentation all sprint meeting and outputs in detail.
That's too much.
That might be an
Yeah, that will
overkill.
be too much. So
Yeah.
what the
Your
possible
focus will
solution
go on
could be like,
documentation because that guy is saying that. I think
yeah,
amongst
the
them
pos
B तो पक्का अच्छा है. There is no doubt about it. But anyway, I think we have given पांच
Backup.
पे का B लिया है ना तूने कुलदीप?
लिया है सर, लिया है.
हाँ, तो अभी ये छोड़ दे नीचे में आस्क एनीथिंग में आंसर्स फॉर अबो डाल दे. आंसर की फॉर अबो. C,
D. D.
D,
Correct.
B,
Yeah.
D.
Explain.
B. Okay.
Generally.
ये वाला हमने ट्राई
They
नहीं
have
किया.
given rationals as well. No,
Hmm.
Agile values working
Balance
software,
is
but
key.
हाँ,
not
वो तो रैशनल तो
expenses.
पक्का मालूम था अपने
Yeah,
को. Sure, I was not doubtful about it, but I was saying उससे better कुछ चाहिए क्या. I mean, I would no just see. So Shishir, see, look at this situation. A stakeholder is saying that you want it, and you are only telling him saying ये देख ये कानून है इसके वजह से मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ. That doesn't look to be a brilliant way, isn't it?
Then
when
you
you
have
but
to
वो
actually
sir,
negotiate
but
with him
Hmm.
and telling him the value that why we are actually keeping it comprehensive. So we need to actually negotiate it with the stakeholder. उसको बताना पड़ेगा that this is the value of keeping it short, means documentation कम करके working software why
Software is
it's more
important.
important.
Right.
तो वो
and yeah,
negotiation skill आएगा. PM कोच जो भी है हमारा ये agile कोच या scrum master, वो उसका leadership जो है that
It
comes
will
into
get.
picture.
and this is just one example of anti-pattern. And इसी तरह के lot of stakeholders are following a lot of anti-patterns. उसके problem की वजह से ही scrums are not getting followed properly.
हाँ,
And I mean, this is
exactly.
just one problem, of a
Exactly.
documentation, but there are others as well. If
Yeah,
you
and people actually, Shishir,
Hmm.
problem क्या होता है? People end up, quoting Scrum principles and all that thing as they are convenient, है ना?
At the same time, Sanjay, stakeholders are keeping telling us that your team should follow Scrum, but eventually they are not they have not
Knowing
mindset
them.
to follow Scrum. And if
Exactly.
you sit them with 1 week, right, you will find 10 numbers of this kind of requests from them, and you will end up, just serving them these kind of anti-pattern stuff,
Daily
requests.
scrum meeting
Yeah.
is the only thing which remains. Otherwise, agile पूरा निकल जाता है.
हाँ, फिर उसके बाद there is
That
no
too
sense
they
of
don't
following
follow
Scrum then.
actually.
Yeah.
Daily
Exactly.
Scrum also that too they don't follow. It is said ki maximum 15 minutes should be given to the daily Scrum. Many times people will extend it to the half an hour and more than that. So
हाँ.
people really
Yeah.
don't follow it.
But that too Scrum master's responsibility कि आप उसको strictly follow कराओ, and whatever the discussions are going to be happen, that should be between those two persons, which should not waste others' time, and they can
True.
take it offline after those 15 minutes.
Chalo, anyway, those are more practical things. I will share my screen, Shishir. Is that okay?
Sure. Yes.
So I will do that and we'll take it. Remember, friends, these are really good sources of exam questions. You would have realized, they are really fun. So, friends, for your great project which is going to go live on 2nd of August, this could be used as one of the, I call it as वो क्या बोलते हैं इसको वो monotony breaker करके होता है. Questions could be used as monotony. So while studying, after some time you will get bored कि यार कितना पढ़ूँ. So jumping into some question and trying to solve them from there could be brilliant idea, for you to. So do that. 12 principles, and here is the hierarchy. Look at it here. They say that you have a product vision on the top, and then there is a product roadmap. Product vision says that I am going to introduce these features in first quarter, these in the second quarter, and so on. Those type of things, a very long-term vision about the product. How is my product is going to come, and that's where they have used these words together, vision and roadmap. Vision is, if I were to go ahead and use a very analogy sort of a thing, is that I would say that I want to bring up a product which is going to be value for money for the customer. That's the vision, value for money. Remember, there are two type of visions when we always take. We said value for money, and we say a very premium thing. Are you getting the contrast between these two? Your vision could be value for money customer, vendor, or your vision could be a premium vendor. There is a difference between these two. Are you noticing this, Sachin? Rahul?
Confused.
Correct, Raj? See, value for money will try to create a product which is very competitive in cost. Correct, Raj?
Yeah.
प्रीमियम वाले का मजबूरी अलग होता है, राज. You know that, na? Apple cannot sell their phone below 50,000, even if they could make it.
Threshold, yeah.
वो प्रीमियम है उनको. They want to be premium. If they want to be premium, if you go ahead and try to buy a charger or वो कवर खरीदने जा रहा है वो एप्पल का, तुझे पता चलेगा क्या प्रीमियम प्रोडक्ट है. करेक्ट?
Yeah.
They will
पर
never
वो
sell it.
सर उसका प्रोडक्ट इतना भी प्रीमियम नहीं होता है सर. मैं 15 साल से यूज
हाँ,
कर रहा हूँ. वो
exactly.
बस
आपके लिए प्रीमियम है हम लोग.
नहीं
वो
है, बट उसका वो विजन है कुलदीप. आर यू गेटिंग व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से?
हाँ, उसका मतलब वो
वो
यूएसपी ऐसे
विजन,
बना के रखना चाहते हैं अपना कि हाँ हम लोग प्रीमियम
that's
है.
called as a vision. Are you getting? That's
हाँ.
called as the vision. Vision is only two line, but those two lines decide the whole direction. After that, everything is decided on the basis of that. And then roadmap is little detail. So if I were to take an analogy, is that from Pune, my vision is to travel somewhere in the north or travel somewhere in the south. Is the vision. Now, roadmap is saying that, first of all, I will go to the state of Karnataka, and then from there to the Andhra Pradesh, and finally I will end into the Tamil Nadu. Now, that's the roadmap, a very long thing there. Below that, you have multiple releases. The product will be actually brought into the reality in multiple release. Each release will have multiple iterations. Each iteration will have multiple user stories, and user stories will have tasks. That's how this whole hierarchy there, from product vision till the task, is what he is trying to say. Now try to understand one more important thing, friends. Up to this point, from here to here, this cycle will always be productive. Are you getting this? This part will become agile. Are you getting what I am trying to say? Yes, Sachin.
Yeah.
Yes, Swati. Product vision and roadmap itself cannot be evolving.
Still trying to grasp actually.
See, Swati, your product vision and product roadmap cannot be evolving, isn't it? I mean, every month you cannot come up and say कि अभी थोड़ा product vision change कर लेंगे.
Yes.
Product vision I get, but roadmap.
Roadmap is also long term, isn't it? Even releases. I am going to have a quarterly release. This is a decision which you'll have to take for a year at least. Maybe
Okay.
next year you
Yeah.
might come back and say कि नहीं monthly release करेंगे rather than quarterly, correct? But
Hmm.
at start of the month you can't decide कि ये release एक महीने का करेंगे. That's not going to survive, isn't it?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Then you'll have to go ahead and say I will going to have 4 weeks of sprint. तो यहाँ तक का these decisions will have to be done in a planned way, and that's where I call it as a predictive or waterfall, correct? Now below this, in one iteration, what you should take will classically be delivered using Agile, correct?
Yeah.
That's what I am trying to say. This is, not the PMI's way of putting it, but I am trying to tell you how does that fit. Remember iteration zero as a word they have used. What does it mean is that it's one of the iteration where no technical deliverables are created. It is, all the planning related to the iteration, setting up the team, and all that. Those initial, setup tasks are done in one iteration. It's called as iteration zero, and after that, iteration one onwards, there are all the iterations which are technical deliverable. There is only one more thing which will come down the line, but because I am here, I'm going to explain it to you. They say that in certain situation, when you are going to do technical exploration of certain feature, let's say you want to build a interface between, whatever, SAP as a product and Siebel is a CRM. So between these two, you want to do the interface. You have implemented SAP several times, you have implemented Siebel, but you have never interfaced them. Now, if you want to do it, you can't take this only as a user story because you don't know. Your team will not be in a position to give the code saying that how much time it is going to take. So, as a first part of it, you need to explore this. Such technical exploration, if you want to do it, what they do, they say that go ahead and dedicate one sprint, and that they call it as spike. They call it as spike. So one sprint will be dedicated for that. So it is, timeline is frozen. Within that 4 weeks, I am going to do technical exploration of that. That's the only time which is dedicated and you do it. And that's called as a spike. Spike is that type of, sprint where the technical elaboration is done. So one of the iteration could be like that. Now
और
comes,
सर ये आइटरेशन जीरो में एक बार फिर से बताइएगा।
हाँ, iteration zero में
वो क्या होता है, उसमें क्या करते हैं? मैं
typically it is all about, deciding what's the length of each iteration, how will be the setup, who will play the product owner role, who will be the scrum master. Setting up all that basic things is called as iteration zero. It is called as zero, Kuldeep, because you don't create any product increment, you don't create there. You set up the whole of the thing.
Kind of a planning for all the iterations.
Correct. The planning for all the things there. Sachin, is Pinbock open at your end?
Yes.
Search कर iteration space zero. Control F. Everyone else can do as well. So, Kuldeep, you also. Control F, iteration, just to
Yeah.
avoid the spelling mistake, zero. क्या text दिया है सचिन?
Same page.
Same page.
One more रहेगा और नीचे रहेगा नहीं.
Ne- One of one.
No.
It's not there. It's only one place where they are.
One place, yes.
It's in
230,
diagram.
255 page. Yeah, it's the same diagram, I guess.
Okay, but they have not given. Okay, Shishir,
So
ChatGPT
I
को
mean,
बोल.
if
Ask
you follow Scrum guide, you will also not find anything Scrum zero.
No, never get
It's-
confused with Sprint
it's,
Zero.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
नहीं.
practice-wise, though, there is no iteration zero.
Okay, हाँ. But है क्या sprint?
मैं
ये
check कर रहा हूँ,
ChatGPT में है?
ChatGPT में check कर रहा हूँ.
Check कर.
Shall I share? Or
Share it.
I found it.
Has something come there?
Yeah.
So let me stop sharing. Let's see. I was thinking at least Agile Practice Guide they would have an answer to this question. But friends, don't get
But
surprised. Here onwards, sometimes it does
it says
happen.
sprint 0, but there is
So purpose of iteration in Agile is known as sprint 0 or foundation sprint. Refers to the preparatory phase that occurs before the first official development iteration. It is not about delivering the production. That's what I was saying. Technical things are not delivered. But about setting up the foundation and element necessary for success. And these are establish the project vision and scope, assemble the agile team, set up the tools and environment. CI stands for continuous integration, CD stands for continuous delivery.
development.
Code repositories if you are going to use test environments. Define the initial architecture of design spike. Look at it, yes, spike. Oh, sorry. What did I do? Oh, I pressed something wrong. Okay. So design spike, which means, that's called as, just a minute, full screen kaise karu main? I'm not getting full screen here, but anyway, it will come. So, and then identify the risk, create the initial product backlog with epics. Epic is basically a large collection of user stories, So, for example, it could be a modules, different modules in the software, order module, catalog module, sales module. Those are the modules. They are epics. Under the epic, you have multiple user stories. So, deciding that, identify the risk and constraint and setup. Basically, it's a managerial deliverable issue. There are no technical deliverables which are happening there.
Under Epic,
So
it
who all
comes
are
feature, right?
who all are included in this iteration?
They are not. I mean, as I told you, they are very silent about it. So, in my opinion, Scrum Master, product owner, rahenge. But will the team there be there? I'm not sure. Sorry, because as you know, even Agile Practice Guide is little silent about it.
For sure. I mean, lead technicals team mostly involved in this, but not the whole team.
Whole team,
Not
because it may not be available even at that point. Correct?
Yeah.
It's possible
And they are
that
yet to decide, actually. What I'm understanding is they are yet to be decided that how many people will be working, who all are, what expertise would be required.
Exactly.
Such sort of
correct.
thing, maybe.
Yeah.
So team may not be in place at all. Correct, Swati?
I'm just guessing. I guess no.
Correct.
No,
correct.
that's what actually the correct one, right? I mean, that's what I was saying. There is no sprint 0 in terms of real practice, and that's what before.
One more
kickoff.
thing, share. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no sprint 0 according to Scrum, but we have different methodologies in Agile.
Yes.
There may be
They might
possibility.
be. Correct, Raj.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Scrum
Right.
is not completely agile. There are so many agile methodologies which could be there. Correct.
Yeah. I'm talking about Scrum. Yes.
चलो anyway, so let me. But agile practice guide में आना चाहिए था ना राज फिर. Agile practice guide is not for Scrum only, correct?
Yeah.
And if that was there,
We
but
may have to refer 11th version.
I don't know. Anyway, chalo. So let me share back. Okay,
Yeah.
is that okay, Shishir?
Yeah. I stopped it.
Yeah. So I will share. So that was where this 0 as a word came. This is an interesting thing. Just to explain this, I always take an example, and that's where I'm again going to take catch hold of Maria and Swati. Only two ladies in the classroom. So Maria doing so many technical role and all that thing into the कंपनी शी डिसाइडेड कि मैं अपनी एक खुद की कंपनी चालू करूंगी. मारिया, कंपनी का ड्रीम है आपके पास कभी? आई एम श्योर.
हाँ अभी रजिस्टर किया
Yeah, no, good. So she had that interesting team. ये सब टेक्निकल एक्सपर्टीज किया, बट माय कंपनीज बैलेंस शीट इज इंप्रूविंग. माय बैलेंस शीट लुक्स लाइक to be in the same situation. So she said, I will go ahead and make a technical organization. It's a technical company, which is going to explore, they are going to establish themselves, and which is what is there. So if she ends up taking any project, it is going to be highly uncertain, which means, you don't know as a company whether that company will be able to deliver brilliant products or not is not sure. But Maria, it's not going to be the situation 4 years down the line. If you continue in that business, 4 years down the line, your uncertainty will drastically reduce, because by then you would have delivered several projects there, correct?
Yeah. True.
Now, Swati, who was actually, again in the similar boat, she actually ended up starting some business, not the technology. This technological implementation was Maria, example. But here, she was, so for example, it could be very odd thing, Swati. It could be probably, a
Retail.
recruitment agency.
Okay.
Recruitment agency चालू कर दिया उसने, okay? Now, if she is going to do that as a first time type of thing, and she want to actually go ahead and automate it or implement some technical things there, her requirements are going to be highly uncertain. Correct?
True.
Because you are completely new to that business. You yourself have not done it. Have you made or have you decided to do that after you get into the thing after 5 years? The uncertainty of the requirement is going to be low. Is that making
Yes.
sense?
Yes.
Now, if you and you, Swati and Maria, decide to meet here, where this lady is establishing technically, this lady is establishing the technical, the requirement itself. Remember, you are entering into a fundamentally risky situation. It could result into the chaos. Because you will keep on changing the requirement. This lady will also keep on trying it. You might land into a big trouble. Correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Now look at it. You meet 4 years down the line. Her technical ability is established. Your processes are established. If you do it in such a scenario, don't use Agile. Typically use productive. Because you will save the cost. In the productive, cost will always be saved because you are going linear as per plan. If you are able to make plan for something in long run, you could save the thing. If you don't get the time for planning, obviously your money, you need to have more money. So this is called a simple situation. Now adaptive or agile is for the situations which are in between, where requirements are,
Sanjay, you broke up.
semi-fluid, and the technology is also is half established. That's the situation where adaptive is good because it allows you to adjust the requirements. It also allows you to adjust the technology. And that's where the adaptive is good. Yes, Kuldeep, you're saying something.
I'm sorry. Am I the only one who is having this
No,
voice?
I
No,
also
I have.
the same thing.
Sanjay, you are breaking up. So can you repeat?
Oh, okay. Is it? That's good. You brought to my notice. Is it established? Because my network is okay. But let's wait, or I could change. I have multiple connections. So it should never be a problem. Now he has also shown me a message saying that your
This
internet is
seems good
bad.
at
Bad.
present.
It's good, but don't if it gets
Still breaking.
stuck up again, tell me. Okay, is that
Yeah,
okay,
please.
Kuldeep?
It's
Yeah.
breaking
Yeah,
again.
It's breaking
it's breaking
again.
again.
It's breaking again. Should I change the connection?
Yes.
I
Yeah,
have
try
choice
that.
to change it. That's not a problem at all. So let me do that. ये कुछ अजीब चीज है, typically this the optical connection should be stable ना, but कभी कभी 4G चल जाता है, optical नहीं चलता है, but nevertheless we are here to solve our problem rather than which technology works. So let me do this transition. What happened? Refresh क्यों नहीं है? Oh, I need to press this refresh, I think. Yes. So there I go and say connect. I'm changing to another connection. I have 3 network possibilities. So just don't worry. Even if the second one doesn't work, it's okay. I have changed to the next one. Is the voice any
This-
better?
It seems good
It
for
seems
now.
good, but not necessarily. It could become bad, anytime, Shishir. So please bring it to my notice.
Yeah, sure.
So just don't ignore that thing because communication is more important than the stable thing. So I am just speaking something so that if there is any variation. Swati, audible,
Yes.
clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, chalo, देखते हैं. We'll try this. If, as I told you, okay. So this is, is where we should use what. This is what we have spent good amount of time. What is lean, Kanban.
संजय वो चार्ट वाला थोड़ा ब्रेक हो गया था तो हाफ वे.
ये वाला क्या?
रिपीट दैट. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Here, see, typically what they are trying to say, cutting that long story, Kuldeep, what they are trying to say that if your technology is extremely low uncertainty, means your technology is established, correct, Kuldeep? And your requirements are fairly frozen because your processes are matured. If that is there, they say that use the waterfall model or a productive model. Correct? Because it will save the cost. Correct, Kuldeep?
Yes.
But when your technology highly uncertain, which means your technology is not frozen, frozen, your people are themselves struggling with the technology. Same time, your end users who are giving the requirement, they are also struggling about the requirements, highly uncertain requirements. If you try to actually go ahead and do some automation here, you are heading for a chaos. Correct?
Yes.
So Kuldeep ne is then, he is, see, high uncertain, which is Kuldeep said that I think when we receive the material, we should go ahead and check with my vendor's purchase orders. That's what he said. These people who are doing the technology, they went ahead and tried to explore it. And when they tried to explore it, they, by the time they explored it and tried to put something into it, Kuldeep comes back and no, 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 I made a mistake. I want to change it. You are heading for a chaos because technically you are not very frozen. Your requirements are also changing left, right, and center. So chaos. Is that correct? Kuldeep?
Yeah.
Now, what they say is that if your technology is getting established, and your requirements are also getting established, they are not highly uncertain. They are in between. This is called as complex or complicated. Here, Agile will be of use to you. Correct? See that sprint retrospective, and reviews, all that thing. Even if there are any improvements to be done in technology, you will be able to do it. Your requirements will get frozen, prioritized in that thing. So you get an opportunity in adaptive. In this situation, while you are establishing, if you
I've
use,
lost
Voice
the
I
is
lost
Yeah.
you.
completely. All
oh,
right.
okay, my
Same way,
voice went.
completely lost.
Oh, okay, just a minute. Just a
I
minute.
guess the issue is with this slide.
Huh? Oh, okay. Looks like. Let's try this again and let me check it. Is this
It's
see?
fine.
Is it
It's
see?
Better
fine
for
now.
now.
Yeah.
Teams
Better
all
for now. But anyway, don't
provider using
say
same
that it
network.
is working perfect. If it doesn't, tell me. So now coming back to this, Kuldeep. अभी next time आएगा कुलदीप तो slide change कर देंगे rather slide is
Panopty.
Now,
as a
now
panoply.
you explained it 2 times, so it should be good. So
Uh,
let's move to the next
Yeah.
slide.
So basically, coming back to this point, Kuldeep, complex and complicated, what they are trying to say is that your requirements are getting refined with time. Technology is getting, established there. It's a good time, where you can try agile. Here, in this situation where both of these things are not very sure, if you try to work with productive, life cycle, it's going to be a problem. See, in productive life cycle, Kuldeep, the first requirement is that your requirement should be firm. How you capture the requirement and then you design as per that, then you develop and do the testing. You save the cost, but if requirements itself change down the line, you are going to create a product which is brilliant as per the requirement, but business doesn't need it. Business requirements itself will change there. So in this situation, using waterfall models is not good. Use adaptive, which is agile. In this situation, using waterfall is good. Correct?
What need to
Yes.
be done in the chaos situation?
Yeah, now that's where is an interesting thing. I always, thought that, I don't know whether Swati, this will come as a question there. Is that what does it mean, Swati? The thing is that let x axis or y axis move a little bit. What does it mean? Let requirement at least get little bit stabilize or technology at least. Both होता है तो अच्छा ही है, but at least one of them. If one of them actually gets slightly better, then that's the time where you should start doing this automation. Are you getting, Swati?
Yeah.
Trying to do automation when you are struggling on both the fronts is obviously chaos. So what do you mean? You need to bring it down little. So maybe little more technical investment will bring this better. By the way, Swati, one of the thing for requirement personality, one of the very funny way is dictator. Can a dictator be a solution?
Dictator.
Requirement uncertainty. Dictator. Introduce a dictator. I have seen it. In big company, रिक्वायरमेंट कोई फ्रीज नहीं करता, एवरीवन गोस क्रिएटिव, ये भी चाहिए वो भी चाहिए, ये रिपोर्ट पहला है, दैट रिपोर्ट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. So many rounds of discussions happen, and I actually came across, and then we approached the sponsor and told him कि सर ये ऐसा डिस्कशन करेंगे तो we are going nowhere.
I see.
So then one of the person took that role. See, you can't take it as a project manager. If you take it, you will become the villain. No one will cooperate with you. The sponsor side से someone will stand up and you said कि ये discussion बहुत हुआ, let us go with that. Remember Swati, none of these tricks are going to work always, but sometimes these tricks works. Are you getting? Sometimes the
Yeah.
requirement uncertainty is because of excessive creativity of the user. आपने देखा है ऐसा?
Yeah.
Excessive creativity अगर problem है ना तो you need to have a dictator.
I see.
Correct? Did you notice in a very big company, sometimes this creativity turns to be a problem?
Yeah, I have come across a project.
You would have came across. I'm sure everyone in this room would have came across that situation. Correct?
Yeah.
है ना? तो उस वक्त याद आता है ना कि कोई तो भी एक डिक्टेटर रहना चाहिए था. Have you seen this, Rahul? Have you experienced this somewhere, Sachin?
Yes, right.
It does happen. Sometimes ऐसा लगता है कोई तो भी someone should be there. By the way, Swati, the practical trick here is don't try to do that yourself. If you try to do it yourself as a project manager, you will be in trouble.
Yeah,
You need to
actually.
catch hold of someone from the customer side, convince him about all that thing. You need to
In
open all your cards there.
in
Yeah.
our daily day-to-day life is marriage function or something. There should be some person who is taking initiative
Exactly.
to that is
Otherwise,
that-
everyone turns to be a creative guy. Correct, Sachin?
yeah.
None of them is bad. Huh? I am using. It's not that I am using a more, sophisticated work as creative. वो creative होते हैं. There is no doubt about it. Correct?
Maybe over creative.
Over creative होते हैं. That becomes a problem because that's what is where that's a very funny thing. Some way to bring it down could be the dictator. Bring in a dictator and do it there. So anyway, that's good. This we have seen, so I am not going to put time there. And now is implementing the Agile. Chapter number 4 in that thing, it says key is mindset. Remember, just now I think Swati was speaking or someone was speaking about it, saying that, they go ahead and switch to Agile, but the mindset is still old. That is where. So you need to make that there very easy to write, 3 bullet point for me to write. But doing this in real organization is not an easy job. Do you agree to that?
100%.
Yes,
Yes.
Akanksha. Particularly senior management may be problem hota hai. I mean, so till the time they know that everything is to be done at the people who are at the ground level, they will support it. But when their own behavior comes, they may not always adhere to this. And this is where that Scrum Master's job could become little tricky, to do. Arranging the trainings and events to promote that thing and start with the servant leader. I spoke about this at length, saying that try to don't try to jump into the action every now and then. There are people, particularly the technical people. When technical people grow into the management roles, it becomes very difficult for them to take this servant leader approach. Have you noticed it?
Yeah, they forget many times servant part.
They actually try. I have came across vice president level person who was going to go ahead and take that. ये डिफेक्ट क्यों हुआ एंड वो बैठ के कुछ करने बैठता था. He used to go ahead and open the tool directly and do whatever, and things become difficult. Correct?
Yeah.
So that's what is where they are saying. Servant leader is the one who is practicing the leading through by the service. So you are doing the service to the team by focusing on understanding and addressing the needs and development of the team member in order to enable the highest possible team performance. Now, this is very important. 3 things he looks: purpose, people, and process. Remember, friends, what you need to understand the context. These are the only 3 words which they have given. Purpose, there should be a clear purpose in mind. Why are we moving to Agile? People is that look at the people aspect of the change and team member need to understand. And process, Do not try to make best process at the start. Look at the result. Some of the things, Shishir, you were also saying, is that what happens is that when not only agile implementation, for any change, sometimes if you believe that the quality of the deliverable is a problem, or there are so many customer complaints every now and then coming, you would realize that people will have a damn big focus on the processes, particularly the people who are recruited from, nothing to speak about anything, but I am say IIT Mumbai se kuch koi, some people they will recruit and they will bring sitting into next to the CEO's cabin, and he has been told ki boss ye problem hai, solve this. That guy will always concentrate on the process. Did you notice that? He will
Yes.
say ki we want to modify the process. Yaar, process modify kar diya na, everything will get sorted. Have you noticed people having this focus? What they are missing, friends, is that purpose. You need to be, first thing is that you need to tell to the stakeholders and why are we doing it. If you don't do that and directly do the process, people will, first thing they will resist, and the position in which if you are directly reporting to CEO, they may not be able to resist, but the process, that implemented process will go fail, because people know how to comply to the process and at the same time get out of it. So that's what. But if you follow this right sequence, if purpose is known, why are we doing it? Then the second is people aspect. Did you notice sometimes organization is trying to introduce the processes without looking into the people angle of it? Have you seen this?
Yes.
Yes,
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 Shishi.
Sanjay. Yeah.
Very common. ये बाहर का कोई कंसल्टेंट लेके आ जा, तो शीश वो 1 लाख रुपए पर डे वाला एक बंदे रहते, ये टाइप के लोग.
Mhm.
Those type of people would always ignore these things. They think that some process, and they will have so many reasons, Shishir. They will come back and say, that Tata Group company had such problem, मेरा ये process से solve हो गया. Boss, ऐसा नहीं होगा. I mean, that got solved there does not mean it will get solved here as well. So this is the right sequence. You need to concentrate here. You need to sell the purpose first. Why are we doing? Then the people angle. What problems people will face there, and then comes the process. Are you getting this point, friends?
Yes, Sanjay.
Oh,
Yes.
iskare. I mean, very funny example. Now I am linking these two examples itself. Your kid should be disciplined so that he takes everything what is required for the next day school. School bag में सब भर देना चाहिए. Evening 5 p.m. is one of the simple requirement. Correct? Yes.
Mm. Yes.
Mhm.
Try to concentrate only on the process, and you will find it will not get solved. Look at
Never.
it. Follow this route, and this might get solved. Are you getting the thing? If
Agree.
that guy is, because Swati is his mother and she says, इसके लिए मेरे को हर रोज भरना है, that's a process part of it. He is not convinced about the purpose.
Hmm.
मम्मी चिल्लाएगी is the thing for which he is doing. It will not. If purpose is very clear there, the chances are bright that he will follow the process.
True.
Then comes the people part of it. Finally he is a, if he's a tin have their own things, यार. They have their own priorities. वो आईपीएल मैच है तो वो बैग नहीं भर सकता है उसमें. दैट्स अ प्लेन एंड सिंपल फैक्ट है. That's a people aspect which is always applicable there. You need to look into that as well. And then process. If you follow this process, then the chances of making changes will happen. This is, here we are speaking about why are we doing Agile, but it's not only limited to Agile. Any change if you are going to implement in the organization, you should follow this purpose, people, and the process. This I have taken somewhere from the net, not there in Pimbok, but unfortunately, bad news for all of you people is that PMI never says that we'll ask you question only from Pimbok. They might ask it from anywhere. Anywhere they थोड़ी ना पढ़ेंगे. So some of the characteristics of servant leader: promote the self-awareness. He is good listener. Serving those on the team. Look at it, very important. Serving, not leading, not guiding, not coaching. Serving is very important. Verb they have used. Then helping people grow, coaching versus controlling. He is a coach, not a controller. Promote the safety, respect, trust, and क्यों रहा ये? मारिया, वो
Yes, sir.
वो इसमें 4 कुछ था क्या? वो 4 वैल्यूज इन दैट इथिकल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट में
हाँ जी.
क्या क्या था? वो सेफ्टी, रिस्पेक्ट, ट्रस्ट कुछ है क्या उसमें?
Yes.
क्या है? और कौन चौथा है क्या कुछ? आई एम नॉट
अभी याद नहीं है.
अभी याद नहीं, बट एनीवे समथिंग ऑफ दैट नेचर. आई थिंक देयर शुड बी समथिंग. एंड देन प्रमोटिंग द एनर्जी एंड इंटेलिजेंस ऑफ अदर. ओके, so those are his characteristics. Certain responsibilities are, he does facilitation. This facilitation as a word I am going to explain later into the PMBOK, but because it has come here and I am stopping on this, like normally in batch I don't stop, but we are having good discussion, so I am taking a little more time. So facilitate is what? Facilitate is an ability for of the project manager to take the situation in his control and bring all the discussion on track. Just to explain this point, I always ask this question, and it's a question to you as well. Have you seen across meeting hijackers in your company?
They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yes.
They are there,
Yes.
isn't it?
Everywhere.
Now, remember, friends, the ability of the project manager to take control is called as facility from the hijackers. Are you getting? Some people are having that good habit. They are able to take them into the control. These hijackers, they are able to control. Doing so is facilitation. They call it as a facilitation. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is what is the facilitation. Shirish, तेरा खुला है ये Pimbok? Everyone else, I think everyone has Pimbok open.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Control F करो. Control F.
Mhm.
Okay. Now type 4.2.2.1. 4.2.2.1.
Expert judgment.
हाँ
Expert judgment.
Expert judgment.
हाँ, नीचे स्क्रॉल कर. फैसिलिटेशन टेक्निक आया है क्या? देख नीचे. बिलो दैट 1 के नीचे जाएगा, वो 2 वगैरह आएगा. 4.2.2.3.
4.2.2.3.
2.3 क्या है?
हाँ.
व्हाट दैट?
Interpersonal and team skills.
हाँ, उसके अंडर फैसिलिटेशन है क्या?
Yes.
कैन यू रीड दैट टेक्स्ट, शिशिर? Under the facilitation, what they have said?
Facilitation.
हाँ,
Ensures that
It shows described in section 4.1.2.3. I think it's
अच्छा वो कंट्रोल F करके
हाँ.
वहां चला गया. हाँ, go there. They are giving cross reference. These are called as tools and techniques, friends. We are going to learn this soon, so don't worry
H.
about it. You are going to remember these numbers very easily.
Facilitation is the ability.
In this also, actually, it is giving a brief understanding that facilitation ensure that there is effective participation and participants achieve a mutual understanding, that all contributions are considered and that conclusions or result have full buy-in according to the discussion process established for project.
Correct. So that's it.
Yeah, that's the brief given in this
Yeah,
4.2.2.3.
There is
So
one more
this ability
explanation.
is called as facilitation technique. That's called as facilitation technique, Swati. Okay.
Yeah.
Now remember, just to explain this, ये ऐसा पढ़ोगे तो you will never understand, Swati. Are you now realizing why I said meeting hijacker? The people who are victim of meeting hijacker are missing this skill. Did you notice that?
In our what?
See, I am saying the project managers who are missing this facilitation as a skill are commonly victims of meeting hijackers. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
है ना? ये सब आप, if you are able to do this properly, Swati, meeting hijack नहीं कर पाएंगे लोग.
True.
That's what I'm trying to. That's where I was relating. Meeting hijacker obviously is not a word which is there in PMBOK, but facilitation is that technique. He said that servant leader need to have it. By the way, this is in the Agile. That's why we are seeing about it. Facilitation as a technique is used in huge number of situations by the project manager. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
You need it. Correct. Remove organizational impediments. Impediments is a very classic agile word. It says which are the hurdles. So he is going to try, to do that, pave the way for others to contribute, educate the stakeholders, support the team. These are all the things. This again, as I told you, is little, I have taken it somewhere from the internet. Do you need to remember by heart? No. Do you need to understand it? Yes. Because scenario-based questions will point at it. They will not test your memory at all. Agile rules, the type of people who are going to work into Agile need to have more generalist people. It's not very specialist people are not necessarily brilliant for Agile type of thing. Why? Because remember we said about the team. And when we said about the team, we are not saying that, there is going to be 3 designers, 2 business analysts, 4 developers. We are not saying that. We are saying that you are a team. By the way, on that Scrum, I should have spoken. So let me write. They say that 3 to 9. 3 to 9 is suggested size of the team size in Agile. Okay, they said don't have a team which is less than 3 because this team will have to do, sprint planning meeting, requirement capture, designing, development, testing, pura karna hai. So if they are less than 3, which is only 2 people cannot do it. You can't think like that. But more than 9, the communication will become a problem. So it should be always
Sanjay,
between 3 and 9. Yes, Raj.
as per recent Scrum guide, if we are specifically talking about this development team says, then they have mentioned 10, I guess.
Acha, now the new number they have given is 10. That's what you are saying, Raj?
Yeah.
Okay, it could be. It could be.
if
and 3 to
if at
ऐसा
all,
कुछ किया है क्या? 3 to
And
भी
I
नहीं
think
था?
that includes Scrum Master and Product Owner as well, right?
I'm not sure whether because
no,
they could be over and
development
above,
team.
but the team part of it earlier there was one till one
Yeah,
version.
earlier
I
it was
Raj,
3 to 9.
3 to 9.
Now I
Correct.
guess they have updated to
Update.
10. Provided if we are specifically talking about this Scrum, I'm not sure about the other methodologies in
Other
Agile.
methods I don't think specify the team size as well. Scrum has been always specifying it was 3 to 9, and as Raj is saying, the new thing they are saying up to 10. That's what they are saying. Okay. So
Again, I
good
want to
things.
check this with some other participants in this
Sure.
meeting.
I don't know. I mean, if anyone else
Not
has
sure.
seen it.
No, I'm not sure of it.
Okay.
So now coming back to it, what I was trying to tell is that amongst these 10 people, they should be able to collectively do everything. Rather than, 2 people dedicated who only are doing designing, 3 of them are only going to do development, 3 of them are only doing testing. The problem is that, that blame game starts. The testers will say that this was not caught because you have not done that properly, or the developer will say that the designer did not, design it. And that's where it becomes a problem. So what they are trying to say necessarily, friends, they are trying to say that people should be T-shaped rather than I-shaped. Now, what is this I-shaped? And ये unnecessarily theory create किया है. Don't get panic about it. It says that a I-shaped person is basically specialized in developer. I'm master developer. I am a master tester. I know everything about the testing. A master. This is called as I. But what they say that T-shaped people are the one who are knowing one area in detail. I am a tester, but I also know little bit of design and little bit of testing. The tester says that I am good at testing, but I know little bit of system admin as well as little bit of development. These T type of people are better because they are generalists. They are able to do, multiple things. Their I-shaped people are specialized into one area. So they say don't, encourage typically T-shaped people. This is the theory they have come up with that. This word we have already seen, product owner. Team facilitator is a typical PMI word, your project manager or scrum master. They could actually wear this hat called as a team facilitator. Product owner is a very official word, which is the very official agile word. They say that virtual teams is a part of life today. Even the training what we are doing today is finally possible because of this thing called as a virtual team. So when they are doing, they will be, using technology. For example, like Zoom meeting. For example, there are so many collaboration tools, sometimes video conferencing, and so on and so forth. If they are using, there are multiple concepts. One of the concept is called as fishbowl. Fishbowl is basically a term they have given to something called as there would be a virtual chat room. There is a virtual chat room, and when people are sitting across the different geographies, different countries, the moment you start working, you log on to that chat room. Be there in that chat room. So everyone who is working will be part of that chat room. And now if I want to ask a question to, let's say, Rahul is a team member who is sitting in Australia and I am sitting here, and I want to ask the question through the chat, I will connect with him. It is like, friends, earlier we had only one office, and in that one office there used to be a small conference room next to our sitting place. So if I want to ask anything to Rahul, I will take Rahul and say कि वहां बैठते 2 minutes, let's speak and sort it out. Now with virtual teams, this has become difficult. So, have a chat room where you can do it. And that they have called it as a fishbowl. I mean, that's the name they have given. No, my friend शिशिर fishbowl पे देख है क्या question chat GPT में कुछ? Just check fishbowl.
Okay, देखता हूँ.
Spelling is same. If it is there, very quickly. Don't hard try that. Let's not waste too much time there as well. PMP question on fishbowl करके लिखा है क्या? By the way, this word, Swati, you can check in PIMBOK. ये है. Everyone control F करके देख लो. Fishbowl is a word given.
कुछ क्वेश्चंस तो पॉप अप हो रहे हैं.
हो रहे क्या? उसमें है. Could you reach fishbowl? Someone in PIMBOK?
Create a fishbowl window by setting up long-lived video conference link between the various locations in which the team is dispersed. People start the link at the beginning of a workday and close it at the end. In this way, people can see and engage spontaneously with each other, reducing the collaboration lag, otherwise inherent in the geographical separation.
Correct. Basically, otherwise, there would be a lag between the thing because you are sitting apart. Because of this, it becomes very easy, and that's called as a fishbowl. There, Shishir, questions है ना कुछ?
क्या मतलब पूरे दिन
Yes,
वो लगा
yes.
के बैठने है क्या कैमरा
Thankfully, we don't
You
do
have
it.
some
Questions
questions, Shishir?
हाँ, questions हैं.
Kuldeep, you are saying something.
Yes, I mean the fishbowl. I mean, my understanding is that it has to be as close as like being physically present at the same place.
Correct. वो physical close, if we are not there, ये replacement, technology वाला replacement है कुलदीप उसी का. Correct.
कैमरा ऑन करके रखो पूरे दिन.
हाँ, कैमरा ऑन करके रखो जब चाहे
Something
फटाक
of
से
that
आप
sort.
कनेक्ट करो. That type
Something
of
of
thing
that
is
sort.
So that's what they are saying, and sometimes they call remote pairing, which means people are sitting apart, and it is almost like Kuldeep कि वो हम लोग जब ऑफिस में रहते थे, and if we are sitting in an open place, if I want to discuss with, let's say, Kuldeep, so I will tap on his shoulder and say चल बाजू में बैठ के थोड़ा बात कर लेते. That type of thing you are trying to create using the virtual thing, correct? That's what they are saying. So nothing great about that, but you would realize importance of that. तो शिशिर पार्क कर दे वो क्वेश्चन, बाद में देखेंगे. इज दैट ओके?
Sure, sure.
Common agile practices, retrospective, backlog preparation, we have spoken, or backlog grooming, refinement, all those words. Daily stand-ups, we have spoken about it. Demonstration or the sprint review, planning for the iteration-based agile, that iteration 0. All this planning for iteration-based agile. Execution practices that will help to deliver the value is continual or continuous integration. The concept is that don't try to make all the components ready on the day of go live, try to assemble them together. They said don't do that. Whatever piece of the software is ready, keep on assembling it. Remember, friends, these days this is possible. Don't even think that agile is a great invention which is done now and earlier it was not being done. It was so because they were rigid components. They were not coming up, and nowadays it is all componentized. where you would be able to integrate it at multiple times, so the part of the assembly is ready, assemble it, try to check it. So if there are any issues related to the connectivity, at least they will get established on time. That's where CI, continual integration, test at all level, at the unit level, and the module level, and so on and so forth. Then comes acceptance test driven development. This is a very funny, strange approach. I have not practically seen my own team. I have my own team has not worked onto that, but I have read about it. So what they say is that when there is a product, requirements are given by the thing, write the acceptance test cases saying that how will you test that product, and whatever is required for that, fulfilling that test case, whatever is required, do that development. That's how typically it works. So someone says that only my valid supplier should be able to log on to the site. So that's the test case. Now go ahead and configure your system in such a way that supplier's code will be used for logging in. So what types of that's called as acceptance test driven development. Test driven development, again, the similar thing. Behavioral development and spike, which I spoke, time box, research or experience. When you are not very sure how many days certain thing is going to be there would be one sprint dedicated only for doing this exploration, that at the end of it you would be in a better position to do the right estimation. These are very commonly used agile practices there. There is a term called as MVP, minimum viable product. Minimum viable product is a concept where end user should be able to get a look and feel of that. Whatever you develop. See, if one of my team which was going to develop, they come back and say that what you have done so far. They come back and say that our architecture drawing is very ready, and he shows me the architecture drawing. Becomes very difficult, friends, becomes very difficult, because from the architecture design I don't understand how is my final product going to look. Maybe the technical people will understand, but I don't. Then what? I want to see a prototype, a small thing. See, every deliverable could be minimum, but it has to be a viable product, which means I am able to get a feel out of it. And oh, sorry, what happened? Minimum viable product. That's where this concept actually came. The version of new product which allows the team to collect the maximum amount of validation and learn about the customer, so that you are able to show it to him and get a feel about it. The key premise between the idea of MVP is that your product, you produce an actual product which may not be more than a landing page or a service with an appearance of automation, but it is not, it is manual. But people should be able to get a feel. So, एक अजीब word if I want to go ahead and use here is that, rather than seeing the building blueprint, which has all detailed dimensions, वो sample flat बोलते हैं ना आजकल. Have you seen it? I'm sure you would have heard about that thing. Sample flat. Sample flat क्या है?
Loda.
हाँ,
Representation or
representation. Your flat is not going to be exactly same शीशे, but representation. That's where this particular thing comes into the picture, as called as MVP, minimum viable product. That's what is the word which they have used. Then there are two type of definitions they have said, DoR and DoD. Definition of ready and definition of done. Now, before we understand this, let's try to hear an interesting thing which happened. There was a team which was actually delivering pretty well, agile thing they were delivering. And in one of the deliverable, when there was a sprint review meeting, they delivered and developed some functionalities related to the bank, and that was approved. And while it was, getting approved, the product owner and the related users who were there, they came back and said that this is all going great, but we also want something called as a GST reconciliation report. So the team asked, saying that GST reconciliation would can you give me a detailed requirement onto that, so that then I will be able to work onto that. So he said, no, that right now I am not clear. I will have to probably talk to multiple people. I will show you the current report as well. How are we doing it manually using Excel? So वैसा कुछ है. So the team said, ठीक है, I mean, whenever you are frozen the requirement, come back to me. I will develop it accordingly. Next iteration got over. Next day iteration delivers were done. And then, again, at the end of the iteration, they said, I want to do that GST reconciliation report. कि आप रिक्वायरमेंट तो दे दो ना, तो देन आई विल, हाँ मेरा अभी तक नहीं हुआ है, दोस टाइप ऑफ Now, what happened? This happened for 3, 4, 6 months, and there was a big escalation with CEO. Some delay happened, some escalation happened, some non-compliance happened, all that. There was so much of a shite. And suddenly the user actually comes back and said, we have been speaking about GST reconciliation report. The team has not developed it. Have you came into this trap? This type of thing?
Similarly.
Similar. Correct, Raj? Now, what was the mistake from the development team side there? Yes.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Swati, I was saying that, the user gave something. I want a GST reconciliation, bank reconciliation report. And he has been saying that, from 6 months he's saying, Swati, we need such and such report. Swati every time says, thoda requirement मेरे को reports दिखाओ, show me something, how are you doing manually? I will see that and then I will tell you, that this will take 8 days, 10 days, 80 days, whatever. But give it to me. Next time I will give it to you, Swati. Another 1 month, he again comes back and says the same thing. It's very important report. So Swati says that give me the thing so that I will start working onto that. Nahi. And then when 6 months goes like that, suddenly there is some big escalation. Some big boss shouts, some compliance doesn't happen. And then user says that 6 months I am saying that we want this GST reconciliation. DI nahi hai. Have you came across this situation?
Yes, sort
Does
of.
happen. What was your mistake there? I'm not asking his mistake. Uska to mistake dikh hi raha hai wo. What was your mistake there?
So in
We
this,
should have been
One at a time. Maybe continue with Swati. Yeah.
in this situation, basically, I'll say, I did not make it clear that I need this thing, keeping all the stakeholders aware of this. That what is required
What is
to deliver
required?
what is being asked.
In fact, for you to start the work, you need this clarity. Correct?
Yes.
Yes, Shishir, you are saying something. Then followed by Raj. So Shishir.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I mean, for this, uh, when we say ready, right? I mean, prerequisite item, I mean, to start with that implementation of that particular item should be there. So that is why when we do refinements, we also talk about dependency and assumptions that, okay, these are things are needed for,
Correct.
Going ahead.
Raj, you are saying something.
Yeah, dependability.
Dependable. Sachin?
Actually, when they brought this point first time regarding whatever they want report on, we should have been added this in the product backlog or somewhere.
That is one. And more than that, even for you to add it into product backlog or sprint backlog, you should be very clear कि ये सब जब होगा तो then I will add it there,
Yeah, it means
By the way,
correct.
Sachin, ये game development team के साथ जैसा हुआ, ऐसे ही game could happen with the product owner as well. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
Product owner also could be victim of this game. Remember that thing, they call it as definition of ready. It says that this is the list. You give this list कि ये सब जब आएगा तो then I will start saying that now it is in my lab. Till then, boss, just saying that 6 months I have been saying, you say it for 6 years also. Nothing is going to happen. You need to be very clear about what you want as an entry criteria. You remember those quality guys use two words called as the exit criteria and entry criteria. आपने पढ़ा है ये word?
Yes, we follow that.
This is called as entry criteria, and specifying entry criteria is development team's responsibility. Otherwise, वो जो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना लोग आपके ऊपर टिकट फाड़ेंगे. Have you heard that word?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
That's what is definition of done. Correct. Good. Then definition of done is end, Swati. It's a acceptance criteria, like when you will complete, what are you going to do? We don't make a mistake here because we are good at it. Because we know if we don't do that, they will not come out of it. But definition of ready, we are not very often too specific about it, and then people will create this confusion intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. So we should avoid. That's definition of done and ready. And now, oh sorry, यहाँ पे है क्या? Yeah, next वाला chart. So before that, let's see one more. There are two type of metrics, they say. The two metrics are called as surrogate metrics versus empirical metrics. Surrogate metrics versus empirical metrics. Surrogate metrics are basically checking the health of the project overall and looking into current parameters, current leading parameters, say that this project will get delivered on time, on budget, and so on. It's a prediction. So far, development should have been completed, in 30% of the time was decided for the design. Now, 3 weeks out of the 10 are completed and design is complete, which means 30%, design complete. Looks like we are on track. This is called a surrogate matrix. In surrogate matrix, we are trying to predict the behavior looking into the current thing. There is a risk in this, and that type of risk, they have used this word in PMBOK itself. You will find it is called as, they end up getting watermelon project. Watermelon likes, it looks very green from outside, but the moment you cut it, you will realize it's all red inside. Typically watermelon projects are basically till the time, till the last week go live wala date. Just 1 week before that, they are all reported as 90%. We are on track. We are on track. Everyone is very happy. But the moment that go live thing comes, everything starts falling apart. ये नहीं हुआ है, उसका प्रोडक्ट की नहीं मिला, इसका डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुआ है, उसका डॉक्यूमेंटेशन इज नॉट देयर, द एक्सेप्टेंस इज नॉट गिवन बाय द कस्टमर. So many things will start falling apart there. That's called as a watermelon project, which means they look green, but they are not green. They are extremely red inside. What's the way out? The way out, they call it as empirical metrics. In empirical metrics, you say there are total 10 functionalities and 3 of them are delivered and accepted. Khatam. Very clear thing. We are completed. So 30%. This 30% is different than 30% when you say that, out of the total effort, so many are completed. That is only a sign that it looks to be good. It is not in its own means it's a right thing. That's called surrogate versus empirical. Sachin, you had some question?
Yeah, it's like a qualitative and quantitative.
And trying to convert that as much into the quantitative. Correct, Sachin. So trying to convert those metrics as much possible into the quantitative could be there. One of the things, Sachin, they have also given here is that writing smaller user story. How could that be useful? How could this be useful?
We can achieve that shippable product definition of done in less time.
Correct. वो yes or no हो जाता है आंसर उसमें. Correct, Sachin? See, if it is a smaller user story, if you ask a person, हुआ है कि नहीं है, you need to say yes or no, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it is a very big story, he said, sir, 50% हुआ है. 50% is dangerous. Huh? By the way, Sachin, I don't know if you have seen it, but when your team members are saying 90% complete, you could be in big risk. Huh? Are you getting this, Sachin? ये 90% बहुत dangerous number है ये, है ना? Because that last 10% is where everything will start falling apart. Correct? Yes, Sachin?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
So that's where if they are smaller user story, for him it will not take long to say yes or no. So rather than, one user story, which is whatever, is going to take 40 days. Say they are, break it into 10 small user stories. And each of them, just to debate, say that it is going to take 4 days. And now say that out of these 10, 5 user stories are approved. This is better rather than a 40 wala mein, if you say that I am 70% completed, you have no idea that remaining 30% could end up taking much longer time. Here the problem is less because 5 user stories out of 10 are now approved. No more going back onto that. So writing smaller user stories could be always, useful thing. Correct, friends?
Yes, Sanjay.
This is where, that was their definition of ready. This is, they measure it, requirement time, response time. Once the requirement is fallen into the product backlog, from there to team start working. This is called definition of ready. If definition of ready is very clear, it will start from here. Here to here is called as cycle time. And this is called as the lead time. So lead time has response time plus cycle. Response time is from the day in which it was identified as a requirement to the definition of ready. And definition of ready to completion is called as the cycle time, and put together is lead time, correct? Yes,
सर
friends?
इसका मतलब है कि ये cycle time is same as the length of one iteration?
Actual development. What did you say, Kuli?
Length of one iteration.
I mean, it could be. Or it could be little less than one iteration, isn't it? I mean, if you are going to deliver multiple user stories in one thing, it could be little faster as well. But anyway, end user to जाने के लिए one iteration, correct? So that's what they are trying to say here. Estimation methodologies for Agile, there are multiple methodologies, but the crux or the bottom line, try to understand. Bottom line, they say that don't waste too much of a time in making very accurate estimate. Remember, you are making an estimate. Estimates are rough. They are rough. I mean, it is an estimate. You are not. So what happens, friends? See lot of agile related practices, the way in which they are documented, the way in which they are written. Did you notice one of the thing is that none of the role there has manager there. Did you notice project manager is not a title used by Agile? They call it a scrum master, product owner, or team. Did you notice that? That word manager
Yes.
they have skipped there.
Yes.
What's the logic? What's the logic?
Because it's a self-organizing team. So
And very important thing, Maria, is that when it becomes a manager, people think that he is there to make the
give
plan, I am
direction.
here to implement.
Yeah,
The ownership lose हो जाता है उसमें, correct, Maria?
correct. Yes.
So, that's where they have not used that word called as a manager anywhere. So what I was trying to tell you, Maria, is that basically lot of wisdoms which have came, lot of practices which they have actually came up, looking at the traditional corporates, whatever used to be the failure, on the basis of that, they have actually, came up and documented, this 3 to 9 or as Raj say 3 to 10. ये 10 क्यों आया रे Raj? Why not 15? Why not 20?
No, but in the recent document, they have mentioned Scrum team. They did not mention anything about
But
development team.
whatever, they are fairly smaller team size bola hai na. Why is that,
Yeah.
Raj? See, if
Constraints.
you want to implement something, Raj, which has 80 people requirement, 80 people are required. They say that, don't say that I have a team of 80 people. They say that I have 10 people of, 10 teams of 8 people each or whatever. 8 people का 10 team. Call them as a 10 team. They will work concurrently, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
this is where that वो क्या बोलते हैं उसको, क्या नाम है उसका, स्क्रम ऑफ स्क्रम वगैरह आता है ना उसमें फिर.
Yes.
That
Scrum of
type
Scrum.
of concept. So
Parallel
Scrum of Scrum.
teams.
Basically, multiple teams are working concurrently. They are like a separate factories, Raj. Correct? So there are 10 factories with 8 people. Now, why 8? Why not say 80?
Complexity.
Communication, Raj.
Yeah, communication.
Communication becomes a big problem. If there are 10 people, they will not write mails to each other. Are you getting point, Raj?
Yeah.
They will
Even
talk to
with
each other.
taking the ownership is also losing. When you have large
Ownership
number of
becomes easier.
teams.
That's where these people are saying. So what I'm trying to tell Raj and all other is that lot of practices which these people have taken are from failures which has happened in them. वो देखा ना राज वो क्या है? Individuals and interactions over the processes and tools. And I gave you an example about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
In companies, sometimes processes and tools are given so much of importance that people are shouting that there is a problem, and that problem is no one is bothered to look at it. Have you seen that? Yes.
Yes, I did. Yeah, in my project. Yep.
So lot of things they have taken from the traditional corporates whichever. Now one of the thing which was happening about the estimation as a process in the old way, not in agile, was people were trying to arrive at a very accurate number of estimate. And now let's say there is a fight. Raj says that it will take 16 days. And Sachin says it is going to take 24 days. Now remember, sometimes they used to spend weeks together in fighting whether this is 16 or 24. I mean, accuracy of and finally this is an estimate. I mean, in a way, anyway, it is going to be taking anything maybe less than 16, maybe more than 24 as well. But estimate पे ही झगड़ा होता था. Now what they have said is that don't do that. Do a relative estimate. which means go ahead and segregate, which is the biggest one, which is the little smaller, little smaller, little smaller, and all that. So these methods are like that. That's very important. Planning poker has these numbers. 0, 1, 2. So take each user student, it is 0, it is 1, 2, 3. If it's a very big 100, then it is smaller than 40, 20. Give a number to that. They made it still more simple. T-shirt size. This user story is small, this is medium, this is large, this is XL, this is XXL. Don't try to at all make an accurate. See, while an attempt to make an accurate estimate, people end up wasting hours together in saying whether this will take 4 days or 5 days. If you waste 1 day in discussing whether it is going to take 4 days or 5 days, it's an idiot thing. It makes no sense. T-shirt size. They said ki XL hai ki XLL, XXL hai. Make it there. Basically, it is all relative ranking of the stories, and then say out of this how many user stories I can take. That's good enough. Yeah, you don't need to make a very big, great, right estimate. And that's where planning poker, T-shirt, dot voting, giving number of dots. Then there is bucket system. See, here also there are numbers, and then there are numbers. Look at it here. These are. So they are called that what Fibonacci. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? I always
Fibonacci.
Fibonacci is the base.
those numbers. So basically, it is the addition of the prior one. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, I say type say. So 4 should not be there actually, but I don't know. Some numbers. Basically, they are saying that, take all the user story and say that, is this 1, is this 2, or is this 20, is this 30? Take those numbers and bucket it as per that. And then what you do, I want to take 2 very big stories and, 2 medium stories and maybe up to 7 small stories. That's it. That level of accuracy is enough. See, they are not trying to say that, your estimate should be accurate in terms of that number. They are saying that whatever you estimate or decide to estimate, you should be able to do it. If you are able to do it that way, why do you want to arrive at the best number? That's what is the simple thing there. Affinity mapping may you are, on the board, you are going to put, large to small and keep on putting the stories accordingly. Basically, Agile uses the estimation methods which are relative. It is smaller to bigger to bigger to biggest. And then pick up whatever you can do. It is why do you want to do estimate? How much work I can complete? If you are able to do it without making accurate size of it, why not? It's a good idea. Absolutely not a bad idea. These are multiple methodologies: Agile Scrum methodology, Lean software development. Now, Lean is that, whole word which came onto the top, no wastage wala. Kanban is, as I told you, just in time. Then extreme programming. Crystal is one of the method. DSDM, dynamic system development. These are multiple methods. You need not have to worry about, studying all of those things there. This is burn up and burn down. We have spoken about it at length. There was an example.
Sanjay, questions इनमें से नहीं आएंगे ना? I mean, based on different methodology of agile. मतलब जैसे कि safe में क्या होता है या
I have not seen those coming there. So I have not seen them getting asked.
Sanjay,
They are always on the Scrum.
I have seen some that drag and drop question on this Lean, Kanban, and Agile, Scrum, something.
Yeah, particularly Sachin, if you visit lovepmp.com, on that they have given some drag and drop. So there are two things here, Sachin. Drag and drop is one of the style of the question. Some few questions, maybe 3-4 questions out of 180 come into that drag and drop in the final thing. Are they typically only on Agile? Not necessarily. They could be on any other topic.
Mixed question, yeah.
As well. Okay. So, but drag and drop on Agile, Love PMP they have given. So anyway, Agile practice guide में जितना है, that part you will have to read, Shishir. Okay.
Okay. Sanjay,
Yes.
one small question. Did they mention anything about the tools that we use for this estimation methods? We have Jira. So
no, these tools they don't. Down the line, Raj, we are going to speak about something called as tools and techniques. For example, just now, you remember we spoke about facilitation, and there was something called as expert judgment. Did you remember that, Raj?
Yes.
Now, PMI calls that as a tool. not
Okay.
Jira or Microsoft project. Now, what is the tool? I call it as a management. It's a management tool. Brainstorming, they call it as a tool.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
they call these type of tool like Jira or Requisite Pro or Remedy. These tools they don't refer. They don't call it as a tool.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
you will never get any question on that. Obviously, Raj, you would realize, they want to be vendor neutral, isn't it? I mean, they don't want to promote
Yeah.
any tool
Correct.
specifically. They said project management karna hai, iske liye, you might use any type of tool there, correct?
Okay.
So they are using about the management.
Yeah,
Now
thanks.
this is called as Kanban board. Kanban board is, a common method. What I have created here was, there was a company which was going to develop certain, user, this HR functionality, the one what they used to do, they used to go ahead and, take each of the requirement, put it onto a post-it sheet, and they made a board like this. So requirement frozen, design complete, development complete, unit testing and all that. And whenever there is a requirement frozen, which means definition of ready, once it is done, they will post that sheet here in this column. The people who are working there, daily scrum meeting, wherever it is happening, someone will go ahead and take this sheet and say, let me go ahead and design. Once he completes the design, he takes this sheet and put it here. Once the development guy actually goes there, so finally all the sheets will go on to the present to the product. That's how the whole thing will happen. Now, a simple board with so many post-it sheets there, like freeze magnet jaisa laga hai. This actually helps a lot, it helps a lot. Why? Why does it help? Progress. And psychologically क्या फायदा है राज इसका?
Visibility.
See, pressure आता है इसमें. You know that, na? Does it create pressure, Raj?
Yeah, driving
If
force.
team finds that there are so many cheats stuck up there in the daily scrum meeting, they will say, what is happening here? Why is this not moving? Correct?
Yeah,
So it's
pressure
very
for
clear.
developers and panic mode for
Exactly.
project
It is
management.
how it happens. Some people use that freeze पे post-it cheat लगाते हैं. I mean, have you seen it? In a lot of movies, it is anyway shown. But otherwise, have you seen that practice? उसी के लिए वो है ना? They are sort of a
To-do
routine
list.
task. Correct. So to-do list. They will keep on pasting there. Now, if there are too many cheats stuck up around the freeze, it will bring a pressure onto them. कि भैया ये करना पड़ेगा. Otherwise, this is going to be a problem there. So that's what is there. Simple thing called as a Kanban board. Remember, these type of controls is what Agile use. Agile says that don't try to make a big jazzy dashboard. It is not all about the brilliant dashboard. It is about some simple thing which will distribute information to the right people and they get into the action. See, final action is important, not the report itself. Sometimes we end up concentrating more on the report's accuracy, reports look and feel, but the actions coming out of them are ignored. And that's where Agile says that don't waste time on trying to make very beautiful dashboard. That's not the dashboard is not the end objective. End objective is making appropriate actions on that. So keep it simple so that it works better. And that's where Kanban board is one of such tools. That burn up, burn down chart. That is one of the things. These type of thing they have used the word called as information radiator. Information रेडिएटर कंट्रोल F पिंबॉक में रेडिएटर देखो इज इट टेकिंग यू टू समथिंग आई थिंक दिस इज अ पिंबॉक अजाइल प्रैक्टिस गाइड का ही वर्ड
नहीं मिला सर, नहीं
नहीं
मिला।
मिला क्या बात कर
हाँ, मैंने देखा सर।
अच्छा
हाँ, अब
रेडिएटर
मिला, अब मिल गया सर।
हाँ वो
पेज
थोड़ा लेट
नंबर
आता है वो कैन यू रीड दैट लाउडली कुलदीप फॉर
हाँ,
आवर
yes.
बेनिफिट
This information radiator large display is made up of columns that represent the states the work needs to follow through in order to get done.
हाँ दिस इज अबाउट कानबान बोर्ड आई थिंक
Yes, it is about Kanban board. That's right.
बट जनरल रेडिएटर व्हाट इज इंफॉर्मेशन रेडिएटर ऐसा कुछ है क्या
मैं देखता हूँ। हाँ सर, वो
It's
वही है
like
सर, वो information radiator
Access
में only
information to anyone who
a,
sees it.
a visible physical display that provides information to the rest of the organization, enabling up to the minute knowledge
ये थोड़ा
sharing
लाउड
within.
सचिन थोड़ा loud.
Hello.
Page number?
थोड़ा loud. Yeah.
It's written like a visible physical display of that provides information to the rest of the organization, enabling up to the minute knowledge sharing without having to disturb the team.
हाँ, तो वो सीईओ ने आके he should not ask सचिन कि सचिन मेरे को थोड़ा इसका रिपोर्ट भेज देगा क्या इससे. नो, he will just watch it there and he will get a feel about it. That's called as information radiator. So Kanban board is one of the format. Burn down, burn up chart is also called as information radiator. These are the type of things which are there around there, and that's what they are speaking about it. This is not there exactly in the PMBOK or Agile practice guide, 3 plus 5 plus 3. But in some mock paper somewhere I found, so I thought that let me include. There are 3 roles called as a product owner, scrum master, and development team. I think you remember this very well. We spoke about that. 5 events. One is sprint. You are right. Someone was saying sprint. I forgot that. Sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. 5 things.
सर ये sprint मतलब sprint 0 है क्या ये?
Which one?
No, the whole sprint.
It's a sprint.
The whole
Sprint itself is a
event.
ceremony.
ठीक है.
They call it a ceremony.
Okay.
And then artifacts are product backlog, sprint backlog, and product increment. I didn't spoke, but basically at the end of the sprint, what gets generated is called as product backlog, and that's why it is called 3 plus 5 plus 3. So that's is there. This is one of the theory. I think it is. These are the questions which come in. That is there someone here who is certified Scrum Master या ऐसा कुछ किया है क्या कोई?
Yeah,
Yes.
I have done.
I as well.
Yeah.
तो उसमें है क्या ये 3 plus 5 plus 3 कुछ?
गाइड में नहीं है, but during sessions, yes, this is what we
teach it.
अच्छा मुझे एक I want to ask one thing. Can I mean looks like the Scrum Master certification can be done without being a PM without having a PMP.
Yeah, that's a separate thing. That's a
separate thing. हाँ.
I had a great myth then which just got busted. Thank you.
हाँ, दोनों या unrelated है कुलदीप.
हाँ नहीं अभी मैं समझा. पहले वो
even you can do PMP without Scrum Master.
PMP बहुत बड़ा है.
ठीक है.
PMP बहुत बड़ा है.
Scrum Master के लिए आपको सिर्फ 2 वीक चाहिए.
10 pages.
और घर में
15 pages document. Yeah, that's it.
मैं इतने दिन से सालों से ये सोच के बैठा था कि यार बहुत मुश्किल रहेगा लेकिन
नहीं don't worry.
That's the basic thing basically.
Now coming back to this Agile planning onion. Now ये भी है ना, ये सब क्वेश्चन में कभी आया था, so मैं I have taken it. They are not there in the PMBOK, they are not in the Agile practice guide. So theoretically they should not ask, but I can't control if PMI throws that question on my friend Akanksha or Kuldeep's question paper. तो मैंने सोचा कि लिख देते हैं इसमें. So I have written this from somewhere. It says you have a strategy, you have a portfolio, before the portfolio you have a product, there are releases, there are iterations and day there. So it's a hierarchy saying that then, and everything should fit onto the one below. Again, not in Agile practice guide, not too sure if you get any questions on that. And
What
to
type of
summarize this,
question? What type
yes.
of question can we get from this?
सर्च कर फटाक से चैट जीपीटी Agile planning onion है क्या? I have not seen. I mean, and even the people Swati who gave the exam never claimed that these questions came. But I don't want to take a chance, so मैं रखता हूँ rather than deleting this slide. Deleting will take half a second, so I thought that keep it. आ रहा है कुछ?
Chat GPT आपको क्वेश्चंस दिखा देगा, but not sure whether it will come on.
वो क्वेश्चन आ गया सर.
PMP mention PMP.
PMP किसके पास आया है?
They are asking question like which of the following correctly represent the layer of the Agile planning onion from the outermost to the innermost layer. Oh, that need to be just.
But ये PMP वाला है क्या स्वाति? वो क्या बोल रहा है? Is that
not really? No, it's not PMP.
Planning onion पे बोल रहा है. वो PMP लेकिन मालूम.
ChatGPT says it is not directly tested as a named concept on the PMP exam, but its principles and layers are highly relevant to questions related to Agile planning levels.
So that's what is they are saying. So it's a very interesting whether you should learn this or not. So Swati, I was confused. Having made this whole thing, मतलब इसको आधा सेकंड में डिलीट करने की जगह
No,
रन
no, no. Retain it. Retain it. It's not
retain it.
much information.
Just
It's
memorize.
good to learn which is
Yes.
not required rather than skipping what is required. So I
What
kept
if? Yeah.
what if all correct. And then finally the summary, 4 principle, 12, 4 values, 12 principle, 3 roles, all that is more of a summary which is there. Today's recording will also actually get loaded very soon, and then you would be able to see that. Any questions on what we have seen so far? Today, what we concluded is, the agile part of it. Remember, this is a big part for reading, friends.
सर ये टाइम बॉक्स मेथड जो है ये स्प्रिंट लेंथ ही है ना?
Time box method is what? Correct, good. I didn't speak about that. So Kuldeep asked time box method. What is time box method? Time box method, Kuldeep, is where it is already decided that the sprint will be for 4 weeks.
Cannot extend.
And then you go ahead and pick up how much work you can complete in 4 weeks. Here you don't go ahead and look the backlog and say that I will take either 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 5 weeks. It is pre-decided and you take it that way. That's called as time box method. Correct?
Okay.
कुछ अजीब लगेगा, but don't get panic about that. Example.
ठीक है.
You know these people called as packers and movers?
Yes.
Now these packers and movers, there could be 2 approaches, Kuldeep. One of the approach is that their representative come and you visit your home and checks कि तेरे पास कितना अलमीरे है, कितना box beds है, then how many freezes, TV, all that. वो सब he will just check that thing, go to the market and buy the cartons which are good enough to accommodate it. Correct? It's a productive way of working. Kuldeep, it's a productive way. Okay. Now, as against that, there was Agile wala packers and mover. What he does, he doesn't take that dimension. He brings in the medium size boxes. And वो box में पहले he will put whatever, एक box, एक chair, एक ये, इसमें बैठ गया, full हो गया, बंद कर, load it. एक box में whatever is possible, he will pack enough into that, see to it that it is fairly filled in and keep on loading it. This is time boxed wala method. Are you getting where the size of the container is pre-decided? You are seeing how much I can accommodate into that thing. Are you getting similarity between?
Yes, sir.
थोड़ा लूज ये है,
नहीं वो बराबर है सर.
But that's what is time box method, where the box size is already decided. How much you can fit into the box, you decide on fly.
Got it.
So आप क्या करोगे सचिन? सबसे बड़ा बॉक्स है ना, whatever is the big item, that you will dump first. Then you will say कि हाँ अब और एक बड़ा बैठेगा, नहीं ठीक है, तो फिर थोड़ा छोटा. Then in the last you will go, हाँ ये छोटू सा एक बॉक्स है, ये भी डाल देते, एक मोबाइल कवर बिठा देंगे, so वो पूरा हो गया. Now take it ahead. That's time box method. Correct?
Okay.
Good. Any question before we close for the day? How was the day? Was that interesting?
Yeah.
it was.
Yes.
Was that fun? Akanksha, could you come up to the speed?
No, sir. Actually, it is my first session, and yesterday only I have enrolled, so I did not even get time to go through the initial session. So I'll do that, and today also recording I'll go through, and I'll come to speed by next week. Yes.
Sure, no problem. Do that positively in the in the working week so that you are coming
Yes.
up to the thing. Shishir, I think, was already he recovered the backlog.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So Shishir is up to the speed. Everyone else, I think, otherwise was there last time, and it was interesting, friends. So tomorrow we'll go ahead and take little more interesting thing and going deeper into the PMBOK. Again, PMBOK, remember, Agile Practice Guide part of that, most of that I have already covered here. So it goes into the thing. So Maria, you are equally serious about this completing whatever reading in the given working week?
Yep, that is the plan.
तो ये टाइम थोड़ा वर्कलोड ज्यादा है Maria. Are you getting it? Because
Yes.
Agile Practice Guide बड़ा है. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
तो थोड़ा रीडिंग ज्यादा है, but anyway, I mean, keep the backlog as much. minimum possible. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but this is a good style, by the way, friends. This is good style. If you start reading it along with the training is happening, number one, you get an opportunity to ask any question if it is there, because we are meeting every Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Second thing is that by the time training will get over and Maria continues with this approach, उसका एक revision तो खत्म हो जाएगा by end of May itself, maybe start of June, correct? So फिर one more revision and 2nd of August will be fairly easily doable thing for her and all the people who will use the same approach.
तो सर ये वीक हम लोगों को पीएम बॉक में से एजाइल पढ़ना है क्या?
हाँ, PM बॉक is part 1 of that PDF, Akanksha.
Okay,
You
okay,
need to
sir.
download that whole. उसमें part 3 is called as Agile Practice Guide, which is from 797, page 797 onwards is Agile Practice Guide.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay.
And from the PMBOK, you need to read chapter number 1, and tomorrow we'll finish chapter number 2 and 3. So this
Okay,
will do
sir,
from
tomorrow I'm actually traveling. I had informed before only that tomorrow class I will
Okay,
not
okay.
be there. Yes.
No problem, as long as you are able to recover it.
Yes,
so that-
yes. On the working week, next week I will cover everything.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Not brilliant. Chalo, so let's catch up tomorrow again at 9 a.m. and then start this thrilling, interesting journey called as the PMBOK.